Salvete omnes, salvete amici, nomen mihi est Decimus Aurelius Ingeniarius, Praetor Australianus. Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Nova Roma channel, or the Roman channel here on Twitch. Great to have you all from wherever you are watching us from in the world, be it Australia or New Zealand in the evening, or perhaps you're watching us from early morning in Rome or Germany and Central Europe, or even I think it's really, really early in some parts of the United States, or quite late, depending on where you are. But it's fantastic that you're joining us here again this evening, both our new followers and our returning subscribers. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, if you're not familiar with this series, in this series, you are accompanying me as I learn Latin. Now, I don't know Latin very well at all. I'm starting from scratch and learning, and what we are doing on this series is following through the Lingua Latina per se Illustrata series by Orberg. So it's a special book. It's this one here, and you can buy it both as an ebook and in hardcover like I have here. And the unique thing about this book is that it's written entirely in Latin. So there's no English, there's no French or German, or whatever the case may be. So really, it's a book that's actually quite suited depending on whatever your native language is. And the book is written in such a way that when you start at chapter 1 and work your way through, you can slowly start to deduce the meaning, the words, learn new vocabulary, and learn grammar. And eventually you find yourself reading entire pages, almost quite fluently, which are written entirely in Latin. It's such a fantastic book. I really quite appreciate the concept. And there are study guides and teaching aids that come with this book as well, and exercise books. But really, your first and foremost book, if you want to learn via this method, is to grab yourself a copy of this book and simply step through it. Now, that's what we're doing in this series. So tonight is episode 6, and we are going through chapter 6. So we're doing a chapter, an episode, which is nice and simple, nice and clean. So we're doing a chapter 6 of this book this evening. We're going to be learning some new words, some new vocabulary potentially, and stepping through. Now, to supplement our pronunciation, because obviously the book doesn't tell us how to pronounce the words in Latin, we tap into an expert who's quite a well-known Latin speaker named Luke Ranieri. I'm hoping I'm getting his last name correct there. And he has his own YouTube channel. Look up Scorpio Martianos on YouTube. Please head over there and drop a subscribe and a follow on the Scorpio Martianos channel. And so we're using his episode and his series where he reads through this entire book in Latin, and we listen to his pronunciation. And so what we do is then we try and repeat that, making sure we're on mark, and then we'll sit back and then try and deduce the words in English, as English is my native language. So we'll occasionally have Latin speakers come into our channel as well who may help us. Or if you've read this book or even further ahead than I am, I'd love to hear your tips. If I stumble on a word or some pronunciation, please get into chat. Or if you're watching this on YouTube in the future, please let me know what my mistakes are or what I'm missing so we can all keep up, stay together, and continue to learn Latin. So let's flick across now. Here we go. So this is the episode 6 of the LLPSI method from Scorpio Martianos. So pretty much next we'll hear his voice, and then we'll pause it every now and then and have a bit of a practice. So I'm going to open up my book in front of me as well. And already I can see a map starting to pop up. So we might even pause it initially to have a brief look at this map. So let's pause it there. So we noticed actually way back in the start of chapter 1, we had a bit of a map as well, which was showing Imperium Romanum. And that showed us some of the various regions around the Mediterranean and North Africa. So here we're very much focused on the Italian peninsula, and I guess we can make out some words that I guess are known to us in English as well. So we have Roma, which we know to be Rome, and it appears we've labelled a series of roads so far and pointed out several other townships and cities across the Italian peninsula, as well as Sardinia and Corsica. And we have this, and you can't see it off screen down below as well, but have what appears to be Mare Superum, and I'm having a guess at the pronunciation there, so don't take my word on that yet. And we have Mare Inferum, which is a little bit towards the south. So I guess we have a major sea and a minor sea, perhaps. That's some early deductions there, but maybe the chapter will reveal to us. So this will be Capitulum Sextum, the 6th chapter. So this is, I guess, where I'll get to say sex on the internet without meaning anything naughty. So where sex meaning the number 6 in Latin. Haha, our first joke for the evening. All right, let's carry on. Let's see what's going on. Yes, there we go. The whole.
Capitulum sextum.
There we go.
Via Latina. In Italia multa et magnae viae sunt. Via Appia, via Latina, via Flaminia, via Aurelia, via Emilia. Via Appia est inter Rome et Brundisium. Via Latin inter Rome et Capuan. Via Flaminia inter Rome et Ariminum.
Let's pause there for the moment, and we'll tackle those first couple of sentences. Now, you saw there's a whole bunch of imagery there. So first of all, we had the map, and let's go back so you guys can see the same time. So if I scroll back to about there, I think roughly as we've got. So right-hand side margin, don't forget, if this is the first time you're pumping into the series, I recommend you go back and watch episode 1 and catch up. But it's worthy to note that our margins will often give us clues. Again, they're still in Latin, but often they're accompanied sometimes by illustrations or little marks to give us clues as to what we are reading. So here we have what appears to be a picture of a stone wall or a city wall, and we have porta and murus. So we'll hopefully hear that pronunciation a little bit later further on, but it appears to be either gate and wall. That's my guess so far. Porta, like an opening, like a port. It could be something more complex, like a portcullis, perhaps, although that was a little bit more medieval potentially. But nonetheless, my guess so far is we have gate and wall. And then we have the map right in the center of the page. We have Roma, so Rome. We have the Tiberias River, or Tiberis. And then we have Porta Carpena, which I guess is the Carpena Gate, potentially. And then a series of roads. So we have Via Latina, Via Appia, and down to Tusculum. And then there's a little villa off to the south of Tusculum there as well. So as we go into this chapter, it appears we're starting to talk about the roads and the surrounding area around Rome. So let's go through that again. Let's just double check that we're going to hear what we need to hear to get the pronunciation right.
Multa et magnae viae sunt. Via Appia, Via Latina, Via Flaminia, Via Aurelia, Via Emilia. Via Appia est inter Rome et Brundisium. Via Latin inter Rome et Capuan. Via Flaminia inter Rome et Ariminum.
All right, so that's where we paused last time. So let's go through that. In Italia multae et magnae viae sunt. So in Italia, there are many and great roads. I'm going to say that roads. So we've got Via Latina, Via Appia in the map. It's either road or path or something like that. So, or it'll be something along those lines. Like, for example, we talk about Via Appia, and I've heard of what we call the Appian Way. So this might be it could mean the ways. Essentially something to travel to or along. So in Italy, there are many and great roads, or there are a great number, a great many of roads. Many great roads. And it's listing them off for us, which is really cool. So we have Via Appia, and we actually see that on the map. We have Via Latina, which is to the north, and then we have Via Flaminia, Via Aurelia, Via Emilia. A series of well-known, I guess, roads or major roads or ways coming out of Rome. Then we have Via Appia est inter Romam, or Romam et Brundisium. Now we have a clue over there on the right-hand side in the column. We have inter Romam et Brundisium, and the little 3 letters, the ACC in the brackets there, is telling us it's the accusative. And that's where we start to see the M's on the end of the words here. So there's an action or something being performed on the roads, a relationship being performed on these locations, essentially. So the way I read that, Via Appia est inter Romam et Brundisium, and you look at the map, the Appian Way goes between Rome and Brundisium, and really that's what I assume the sentence means here. So the Appian Road is in between, perhaps, in between Rome and Brundisium, or goes between Rome and Brundisium. And then we have Via Latina inter Romam et Capuam. So here we have the Latin road, or the Latina road, goes between, or is in between Rome and Capua, another large well-known town to the south of Rome. And then Via Flaminia inter Romam et Ariminum. So let's get that pronunciation right. Ariminium. Let's. We do hear Luke say that. Let's go back a little bit. Let's listen to Luke say that again.
Via fla mini interro met ariminum.
Arinum. Nah. Let's go back and listen to that again. There's other M's and I's in there. I'm not convinced.
Via piest interro met brundisium.
Mm-hmm.
Via latin interro met capuan.
Sure.
Via fla mini interro met ariminum.
Yeah, it seems to like miss letters there. Ariminum. Anyway, that's a township up quite far to the north, which is at the end of the Via Flaminia. So the Via Flaminia goes between Rome and this township, Ariminium. But depending on your pronunciation of it. I mean, I know there's a lot of cities and towns in Australia which are said nothing like the spelling. For example, Canberra, which is the capital of Australia, and even, I guess you could say, the country Australia. The way that the locals pronounce both Canberra and Australia, and you just heard me say it then, we say Canberra, and that's not how it's spelt, though. It's spelt Canberra, and Australia is never said as Australia in Australia. That's how the foreigners would say it. We say Australia, perhaps, or even Australia. We remove a lot of letters in our pronunciation. Some say that the Australian usage of English is quite lazy, and perhaps it is, or maybe we're always seeking efficiencies in the way in which we speak. We're always in a rush, maybe. We're always trying to shorten our words and what we're saying and say it very quickly. So apologies to our non-English viewers on the channel if I happen to speak too quickly, but maybe you'll get the Latin better than I do, and perhaps you might be able to share that. Okay, let's carry on. Line 5. Let's continue to hear from Luke.
Vi Aurelius interro met Genua.
Genum.
Vi ai milinteri minet Placentia.
It's amazing. It's almost like he doesn't say that city. Riminium. He just that rolls off his tongue so easily, doesn't it? Placentiam. Okay.
Brundisium, Capua, Ariminum,
Arinum.
Genua, Placentia, Ostia, Magnopida sunt.
Let's pause there and let's read through recap. So we have Via Aurelia inter Romam et Genuam. And so we see the Aurelia Way goes between Rome and I guess another township that we have there, Genua, which is actually quite far to the northwest of the Italian peninsula. And then we have Via Aemilia inter Riminium et Placentium. So we have the Aemilia Road, or the Aemilia Way, goes between the difficult township of Riminium all the way up to the north-central part of the Italian peninsula before we hit, I guess, the main part of Italy, Placentia, up there on the border. Or it appears, not necessarily the border, but up on the Padus River. Yeah, a bit of a border up there. Okay. Fascinating. And then we have Brundisium, Capua, Riminium, Genua, Placentia, Ostia Magna, Oppida sunt. So it's confirming for us here that a whole bunch of these cities, so Brundisium, Capua, Riminium, Ariminum, there we go, Ariminum. Now that I see the word written there, that's probably a little bit better. Genua, Placentia, and Ostia, and so Ostia is actually quite close to Rome there, are great cities. So these are some of the largest cities on the Italian peninsula. Very good. And I've heard of Brundisium before, and Capua and Ostia, from like Netflix TV series, for example. What is it? What's the name of that famous slave revolt led by a well-known gladiator? For some reason, I'm having a blank. Drop that in the chat. Oh, it'll come up to me later. Great series. Spartacus. Thank you, brain. It is Spartacus. And so, for example, Spartacus takes place a lot in Capua. Down there is, I guess, where his training and originally took place. Brought out by the name, what do they call those who run and train gladiators? What's that word? We'll work that out again later. So let's continue on. We're now 5, 6, 7, 8, about line 9 there. We've got a clue over here on the right-hand side. Let's touch on that first. So we have prope Romam, which is the opposite of procul ab Roma. So some sort of action. There's accusative here, Romam. So prope is the opposite of procul ab. Now we know that ab means something like from or by, and we can compare that to the word like abest, for example, that we learned in a previous chapter, which means to be absent or be away from. So by that, I'm starting to judge, and maybe we get the further context, of course, from reading, but there's references to Ostia here. So let's read first, and then let's see if we can make that relationship between the clue and then what we're getting in the writing here. So let's go on.
Ubi est ostia? Ostia est prope Roma. Tusculum quoque prope Roma est. Brundisium non est prope Roma,
Okay.
sed proclab Roma.
Right.
Vi appia longast.
All right, let's pause there. Some good context there, I think. And we're introduced again to another long word, another new word rather. Norva and novum, new word. Novum vocabulum, perhaps. We'll double check that. So we have longa est here as well. So, and we have over the right hand side the clue longus, longa, and longum. So masculine, feminine, and neuter. So, and look who's joined us in the chattel this evening. The great, wise, well-knowledged Latinist and Roman living historian and everything in between, Gnaeus Lentulus. Brilliant to have him in the chat. He's popped in here for some company, perhaps just for a short while now. Well, any level of company from yourself there, Gnaeus Cornelius, is always welcome, and I'm sure you'll quickly rapid fire any of the mistakes on pronunciation that I make as we go through. So welcome. Welcome to you. Such a prestigious individual, and as you can see, for those who are observing in chat now, or those on YouTube who can't necessarily see it in the future, but you can see that he has the little diamond symbol next to his username, which shows he is a VIP to the channel. So anybody that you see has that diamond in the chat, they are a very important person for Nova Roma and for this channel. So that's what that symbology means there. So we have ubi est Ostia. So where is Ostia? We know that Ostia is a little city on the coast of the Italian peninsula there, and we say Ostia est prope Romam. Okay, so we were introduced to that clue on the right hand side. Let's read on. So we have Tusculum quoque propa Romam est. So there's references to Tusculum as well. So it's making a similarity between Ostia and Rome and Tusculum and Rome as well. So if we have a look at our map from before, we can see that Ostia and Tusculum are roughly the same distance from Rome here. So what I'm starting to deduce the meaning of the word prope here is something like close, perhaps, or nearby. So Ostia is close to Rome, and Tusculum is also Tusculum is also close to Rome. Quoque, meaning also, which we've learned and covered a few times in our previous chapters too. So then we go on to say, Brundisium non est prope Romam, sed proculab Roma. So when we look back at our map, we know that Brundisium is very, very far away on the east coast of the Italian peninsula. We have Brundisium is not close to Rome, but proculab Roma. So I guess we're saying it's not close, but it's far away from. So Brundisium is not close to Rome, but is far away from Rome. And I guess that makes sense based on the context. So something along those lines is what we are deducing here, and we're seeing that prope is the opposite of proculab so far. So we go on to say, via Appia longa est. So the Appian Way or the Appian Road is long. And right, sure enough, when we look at that map, the Via Appia is quite a long road, stemming from Rome to Brundisium. Okay, good. I think we're keeping tack so far. Let's move on. Let's continue to listen to Luke Ranieri.
Via Latina non tan longa est quam via Appia, quam longa est via Flaminia, neque tan longa est quam via Appia, Tibris fluius non tam longus est, quam fluius Padus.
Padus, yep.
Kirkoppida muri sunt.
All right, let's pause there and let's tackle these new words. And we've got some clues on the right-hand side as well, so let's have a look at those. So the image on the right-hand side in the margin has oppidum, which we know to be like city. And there's a anti-clockwise circle going around it now. I don't know whether the anti-clockwise direction is necessarily relevant here yet, but we have curcum oppidum. It's in the accusative. So I based on the image and based on even the word, which kind of looks like the word circle in English, I would say is to circle or go around the city. Curcum oppidum, maybe to go around the city, to circle the city, is what I'm guessing that image is trying to tell us. But hopefully we'll derive some better context from the actual text itself. So we have Via Latina non tam longa est quam via Appia. Okay. Here we go. So Gnaeus Lentulus has confirmed for us that curcum equals around. There we go. So we were pretty close. We were pretty close. And look, Sempronius Agricola has also joined us in the chat as well, and another esteemed individual. So great to have them on board. We've just learnt the word for around. Sempronius Agricola, curcum, and there he goes. He's gone around in his pocket and pulled out 100 bits of cheers for the channel. So thank you very much to Sempronius Agricola for his ongoing support for the channel. So Via Latina non tam longa est quam via Appia. Okay, so we're making a reference between the Appian way and I guess the Latin way. Now, and there's some words that we've come across before. So we have quam, and I actually made some notes on words that I've been struggling with over the last couple of sessions, etc. So quam, or the equivalent quem. So quam is the feminine quem, and that's an accusative here, which talks about whom, which, in this context. So it's making a reference back to a subject here. Now, the other new word here is this tam is new here. So hopefully we can deduce what this means. I don't think we've come across that before, but it's something along talking about length here. So the Latin way is not something long. And then we have this quam, which is saying which is something to do with the Appian way. So, oh, look, there's clues coming into the chat from Gnaeus Lentulus. So there are actually two quams, he's saying, and one means what or which in the feminine, and the other means than. So that is some important context that's happening here. So I guess we know. Perhaps then, based on that second one, if we substitute for what that second quam is, if we say that the Latin way is not as long or is longer than the Appian way. So let's double check our map and let's confirm that visually. So we have the Appian way, which is quite long, and then we have the Latin way between Rome and Capua. The Appian way extends all the way from Rome to Brundisium. So the deduction of the sentence here is something along the lines of that the Latin way is not as long as the Appian way. I'd be interested to know that with the direct translation here. Let's go on. So we have quam longa est via Flaminia. So is the Flaminia way long? So the quam, it can be posed, is helping us with as a question here. I've got any more clues from my sheet, and then it's going to answer the question for us. So it's got that neque ia tam longa est quam via Appia. Here we go. So Gnaeus Lentulus in the chat has said that quam as a then in question means how much. So really here we're saying how much or how long is the Flaminia way, is what I'm now starting to deduce there. So quam longa est via Flaminia, how long is the Flaminia way? Sip of tea. And then we have neque ia tam longa est quam via apia. Okay, so neque we have come across in our previous chapters before. And this is certainly a word I think I'd struggled with. So this can mean something like and not, or but not, nor, or neither. And we have ia, which we have also come across before, which pretty much means something along the lines of, he, she, or it, or, she here. And I think it's really taking on the feminine because of the feminine road as well here. But let's have a look. So we're saying and not, but not, as longer than the Appian way. So we're making another comparison here between the Flaminian way and the Appian way. And again, we know that the Appian way is quite long. And although the Flaminia way or the Flaminia road is fairly long, it's I guess it's saying it's not as long as the Appian way is what I'm deducing from that next line. So there we have Tiberis fluvius non tam longus est quam fluvius Padus. And we mentioned Padus before, which appears to be a river system up in the northern part of Italy. So that is what that is, and it's capitalized here to sort of give us a bit of a clue that it is in fact a proper noun. So the Tiberis fluvius, so the Tiberias River, is not as long as the Padus River. And so again, if we look at our map, we can see that the Tiberias River, or the Tiberis fluvius, it has a particular length there, but it appears perhaps maybe not as long as the Padus River. Not as long as the Padus River. Okay. And then we have Curcum opida muri sunt. Curcum Romam est murus antiquus. So we know then from our good friend Naos Lentulus, and he's dropped some more clues in chat for me, which is really good. We'll tackle those. There, around the city are walls, I guess, is based on my guess from the picture at the top of the chapter. So around the cities, that's plural, opida, around the cities are walls. Curcum Romam est murus antiquus. So around Rome is an old wall, very old wall around Rome. So let's go back to the chat and see the next clue from our friend De Latinus. He says, to some, it's use it up. So tam, quam is as, or as bigger. Quam, bigger than. Quam is a question, how, okay? So tam, quam, as something, as... So bigger, quam, bigger than, okay? So it appears that's, I like that. It's a nice summary. Yeah, good, okay. So we're describing some walls, what I think is walls around the cities right now. So, all right, so we have walls around the cities. The walls around Rome are quite old. Antiquus, which we learnt in, I think, chapter 3 or chapter 4, if I'm not mistaken, meaning old. And that sounds very similar to the English word antique, which really means another way of saying old. Then we have in muro Romano duodecim portae sunt. I think Luke hasn't checked.
Circum Rome est murus antiquus.
There we go.
In muro Romano duodecim portae sunt.
Okay. So muro, so we have... what's the state of this word? But when we're applying in, the word wall here changes. The ending vowel changes to the O. So we see this quite elongated O and that change here. So in muro Romano. So in the Roman walls, or on the Roman walls, potentially, in at or on. Duodecim portae sunt. So there are two... so we have duodecim. So that's interesting. Now let's go over here on the right. So duodecim. It means 12. There we go. So we've learnt the number 12. So right up until now, we really only knew the numbers 1 to 10. And now we're being taught the number 12. So duodecim. And look, really that kind of makes sense, doesn't it, from a logic point of view, 10 and 2. So duodecim meaning 12. And then we have porta equals magnum ostium. Great description. I really like that. So we learnt ostium in the last chapter, which was to describe like an entrance or a door. And here we're saying a porta is a great entrance or a great door. And I guess we were fairly happy that that's what that meant. So like a gate entrance on a wall. So that's really good. So it's saying here that in or on the Roman walls are 12 gates or large doors or large openings. I think I like the terms gates, entrances, ports. Perhaps choose your words here, but there are 12 of them on the Roman walls. There are 12 of those. Ablative, thank you. Yes, good. See, I like it when you're here. You knew what I was trying to say. Yes, that is the ablative form when we are applying the in. So when we have in Italia and we elongate the last a vowel, for example, that is the ablative form, and this is the same here. So muro is the ablative form here. Good, and certainly that case is something I've always struggled in context what it is that's actually happening to the word or what an ablative case is, but we're starting to see more examples of that, and it's showing the relationship and what's happening to a particular object or location, etc. So that is the ablative case location, right? So that's really good. So excellent, good pickup. Okay, let's continue to listen to Luke as we head towards the end and the bottom of page 41 for those following along at home.
Porta prima Roman est porta capena. Cirquoppidum tusculum murus non tam longus est quam circum Roma.
All right, so let's have a look. So, porta prima Romana est porta capena. So here it's talking about the gates again. So it's saying the first gate. So prima, we know from the previous chapters, like first. So the first Roman gate is Porta Capena. And we mentioned that before. And we actually saw that at the map at the top of this page on page 41. Capena is the name, I guess, of the gate. It appears to be one of the more southern gates, apparently. So the first Roman gate is the Capena Porta. Okay, and that leads off to the Via Latina and the Via Appia. So we have Circum oppidum tusculum murus non tam longus est quam circum Romam. So around the city of Tusculum, there. So we're talking about walls again, and I'm saying there is not long walls, is perhaps what I'm reading here. Around the city of Tusculum, there is not long walls. And we have quam circum Romam compared to that of the Roman around Rome. So around the city of Tusculum, there is not long walls compared to around Rome, is how I am translating that last sentence there. Take a sip of tea. Not doing too bad so far. We've only gotten through one page, but that's okay. We can take our time. Right, I think we're going to turn over to page 42 now.
Villa Iuli est propetusculum.
So let's, before it scrolls away from us, let's study the image as well, so you guys know when we want to refer back to that what's going on. So we have, appears to be our family that we were introduced to before in the earlier chapters. So we have Surus, Linder, Davus, Julius, and we have Ursus, potentially, or Ursus. Yeah, we'll have a look. So we've got 4 slaves here, 2 of which are carrying the paterfamilias, Julius, in some sort of carry. And I wonder if even this chapter will actually talk about what that is that he is being carried in. Good, some pronunciation advice coming in from our Latinus. You are pronouncing curcum as curcum. That's funny how I read that. I need to pronounce it as circum. And I guess that makes sense. C-I-R-C-U-M. C-U-M, cum. C-I-R, kir. Okay, circum. Okay, perfect. Great. Good feedback. Thank you. Live feedback. And I guess perhaps if I was listening to Luke, did Did Luke Ranieri get that correct? I guess I wasn't paying attention to that when he spoke those words. Let's have a look at our clues in the margin on the left-hand side there. So we have lectica, so short I. I am having a guess that the thing that Julius is being carried in is known as a lectica. That's like I don't know even how you describe what that is in English. I just want to say some sort of carry pedestal thing, but I guess at least we know what it is in the Latin. And then we have over here on the left-hand side, we have an image of oppidum versus a villa or a villa. We have ab oppido ad villam. So it's showing an action or a set of activities. So leaving the city, which is ab, and I guess we're happy, that means from or by. So from the city, again we have the ablative, oppido, from the city to the villa, so ad, right, which means like adest, to come in or to be near or be present rather. Ad villam, and again we have, I guess, like an accusative here, showing there's an activity happening to the villa. Oh, I have bones in my tea this evening, making me cough. Yes. True. Yes, so Gnaeus Lentulus has pointed out that the lectica is traditionally or generally called a litter. Yes, 100%. 100% agree, and I've certainly heard that term before. Yes, a litter. Right, so he's been carried in a litter. I have heard that before. Very good. Yes. And cool, so we're confirmed down here that ad is the accusative. Oh, yeah, good. Perfect. So, and then we have ab, which is the ablative. Describing when we're leaving from somewhere and going to somewhere. These are the cases that we're using. Fantastic. Okay. We see Julius and the word it again, singular. So when we see it, we're referring back to Julius when we see that in context in the sentence. And then I think we have, underneath that, we have servi eunt, which is the plural, referring to the multiple servants. Or multiple slaves, rather. Okay, let's go into reading this chapter, listening to Luke. Let's try and get that pronunciation. Here we go.
Ab oppido tusculo
Yep.
ad villam Iulii non longa via est. Ecce Iulius et quattuor servin via. Iulius ab oppido ad villam suait. Dominus et servi ab oppido ad villeunt. Dominus in lectica est. Duo servi lecticam cum domino portant.
Okay, let's pause there. Let's tackle those couple of sentences. All right. Oh, great. Sempronius Agricola has redeemed beverage time for 100 of our channel points, and I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. Excellent. Continue to lubricate our vocal cords, which we are training to learn Latin. Hopefully we can get our English voice box around it. So thank you for that. Much appreciated. Gratias. So we have Villa Iulii est proper Tusculum. So Julius's villa is proper Tusculum, is close to Tusculum. In fact, that image there we saw at the beginning was, I guess, showing us Julius's villa. So it is just south of Tusculum there. So Julius's villa is close to Tusculum. Okay, so we have ab oppido Tusculo ad William Iulii non longa via est. So ab oppido Tusculo. So from the city of Tusculum to Julius's villa is not a long way. Okay, that sounds right. So ecce, make sure we get that pronunciation. Ecce, Julius et quattor servi in via. So if we look here, Julius and 4 slaves are on the road or on the way. Okay. Thank you. Ecce. Ecce. Okay. For more ongoing pronunciation corrections. This is good. Yes. Okay. Ecce Julius et quattor servi in via. So look here, there are Julius and 4 slaves on the way. Okay, so Julius ab opido ad Willam suam it. Okay, so suam or sus, these are words that I think I've struggled with previously. So sus, S-U-U-S, we know means his, her, or their own, for example. And suam here is, I believe, is an accusative. And willa to get that pronounced correctly. Lots of L's. Don't be afraid to make it unnaturally long sounding. Unnatural for me, yes, but not in Latin. Good hot tip. And I guess I've seen a little bit of that from Luca Ranieri's pronunciation anyway. So, don't be afraid to elongate it more. And particularly, I think as somebody starting out fresh to Latin, I think if I really seek to try and emphasize that elongation, I think that may help me. So yeah, that's a good tip. All right, so let's see if I can remember that as I go on. Ecce Julius et quator servi in via Julius ab opido ad Willam suam it. So Julius leaves from the city to his own villa. Is what I am deducing this means here. So we're talking about Julius leaving from the city to his own villa. So remember we saw sus before. S-U-U-S means his, her, or their own. And then we have the accusative here, suam, implying the action that's occurring. That's what I'm picking up here. Cool. Dominus et servi ab opido ad Willam eont. So the master and the slaves, ab, which is go from the city to their villa. Okay. Dominus, we've still got a bit to go before we catch up to where Luke is. Dominus in lectica est. So the master is in the litter. Cool. Where are we up to? Est. We are up to, here we go.
Servi qui lecticam portant sunt ursus et davus.
Okay, so we're here. So line 22. Duo servi lecticam cum domino portant. So 2 slaves carry the master with his litter. Or carry the litter with the master. We have a no coming through from chat. And then we had a yes. So the second one was right. So 2 slaves carry the litter with the master. Second translation. Good. So we're going to make sure we get our order correct on what's happening. Then we have servi qui lecticam portant sunt ursus et davus. So the slaves who are carrying the litter are Ursus and Davus. I don't think we've been introduced to Ursus yet. So Ursus is new for us, I think. I think this is the first time we've been introduced to Ursus. Assuming I'm pronouncing it. Thank you. I just looked at chat to see if I pronounced that correctly. And there it was, the correct pronunciation. I love this game. This is fun. It's Ursus, right? The U's are the same here. Ursus. Ursus, not Ursus. Not like Ursula. It's Ursus. Is this causing you a lot of stress? Nias Cornelius, Nias Corneli, Lentul. Here, let's get the vocative. I've got to get the vocative case there. Is this causing you a lot of stress? Yes, all vowels always the same. Yes, good. Just hearing me pronounce, is that just making your eye twitch? You can't get on the keyboard fast enough. Ah, dear. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. I'm having fun. Ursus et Davus. Okay. So the slaves who are the slaves who are carrying the litter are Ursus et Davus. Okay. Back to Luke's pronunciation. I think I need to listen to Luke more as he speaks. Here we go. Let's slow down the amount of sentences. I think. Here we go.
Julius non inviambulat.
Ambulat. Now I would have said ambulant, like ambulance, but ambulat. Julius non in via ambulat. Servi
important.
Servi important. So Julius is not something on the road. His slaves are carrying him. So ambulat. Let's have a look. Any clues on the left-hand side? No. So ambulat for me sounds very close and very similar to ambulant, which I think this means, I want to say it potentially means to walk here. And, it's trying to reinforce the fact that he's being carried, potentially. So if we have a look at, he's pretty much, I think, without having read on, I'm just making some early deductions here. Julius is not walking on the road, but he's being carried. So we can come back, but let's have a look at the next sentence. So we have Surus et Leander. Yeah, I was going to struggle with that if I didn't hear it. Surus et Leander ambulant. So these are the other two slaves. Yes. Leander. Surus walks is the confirmation we're definitely getting from Nais Lentulus. So, yeah. Walks on the road. So Julius is not walking on the road. His slaves are carrying him. There's that accusative. And Surus et Leander ambulant. So the other two slaves are walking as well. Okay, alongside them, with them.
Ambulant. Surus saccum portat et Leander quoque saccum portat.
Okay. We're hearing some things about Cyrus as the subject of this next sentence. And in fact, even from the image, we can see that Cyrus and Leander are carrying what appears to be some sacks or some bags. So, Cyrus saccum portat et Leander quoque saccum portat. So, Cyrus, as I'm going to pronounce in my English tongue, is carrying a sack, and Leander is also carrying a sack. And that image at the beginning of this page, top of page 42, appears to confirm that. All right. And then we have the next line here. Let's listen to that.
Cyrus et Leander duo saccos in numeris portant. Sacci quos Cyrus et Leander portant magni sunt. Sed saccus quem Cyrus portat non tam magnus est quam saccus Leandri.
Such a nice language to listen to, isn't it? It just seems to bounce and rhyme around. It's almost like somebody singing, isn't it? It's very, very poetic. Very poetic. So clues in the margin on the left-hand side. We've finally hit that where that clue becomes relevant. So we have humorous. Humorous, getting the U pronunciation correct there, like Ursus, humorous. And we appear to be either looking over the shoulder of this man or we're referring to the shoulder. I wonder if, noting we're talking about carrying things and carrying sacks, perhaps the humorous means shoulder. That's my guess. So as we read the next one or two lines where we're introduced to this word, I'm going to guess it's shoulder, but we will see. Sip of tea. Excellent. So let's have a look. So, Cyrus et Leander duos saccos in humoris portant. So we see some ablative here as well. So the two slaves, Cyrus and Leander, in my English tongue, are carrying two sacks on their shoulders, is really what I'm going to pick up from that. So we have the plural ablative of humerus, which is humoris, is what I see there. And we have duos, saccos, two sacks in the plural as well. And again, confirmed by the image at the start of the page. So clues on the left-hand side, we have qui and quos. For context, we have servi qui saccos portant, sacci quos servi portant. So the slaves who carry the sacks, the slave who carries the sacks, and we have the slave. Sorry, let's read those correctly. The slaves who carry the sacks versus the sacks whom are being carried by the slaves. So there's two ways we can say, depending on the subject and object of the sentence, is the clue that I'm getting here from the margin on the left-hand side. So servi slaves, qui, it's kind of like who or which that. The slaves who carry the sacks, plural. And then we have the sacks whom are being carried by, or that are being carried by the slaves. Those two lines there. Okay. So, sacci quos Cyrus et Leander portant magni sunt, sed saccus quem Cyrus portant non tam magnus est quam saccus Leandri. Okay. So the sacks that are being carried by Cyrus and Leander are great. Magni. They are great. And the reason why magni is in the plural is because we're talking about multiple sacks. But, said, that's what the said is, but the sacks whom is being carried by Cyrus is not great as that of Leandris. So we're saying that the sack really that Cyrus is carrying is slightly smaller than Leandris. So they're both big sacks, but one is not as big as the other. Okay. So this, that term is interesting. So there's some interesting combinations of words to imply some meaning. So this is something I'll have to practice. I might make a note, and I recommend you guys do the same if this is something that you've been struggling with as you're learning along. So the concept of the multiple uses of quam here, for example, and we have this tam as well that we've seen. So we're going to practice that, I think, during the course of the week to get used to that, I think. So sacci quos Cyrus et Leander portant magni sunt, sed saccus quam Cyrus portant non tam magnus est quam saccus Leandri. So not as big as the sack being carried by Leander. Then we have, next.
Quattuor servi dominet duo saccos ab oppido ad villam vehunt. Julius indecti geist interur suetavum.
Pause there. Let's have a look on the other side. So we have Leander and Leandri, which was the genitive. So yep, that's fine, and I guess that was pretty easy to work out. Now, vehunt is equal to portant ab something, add something. Interesting. Während equal to carry, they carry to, or they carry from. Is it's implying to move something. Is the clue that I'm getting from the left-hand side. So 4 slaves of the master and 2 sacks. So let's get the verb correct. So the 4 slaves carry the master and 2 sacks from the city to the villa. Is the translation of that last sentence. Quattor servi dominum et duos saccos ab opido ad villam vehunt. So 4 slaves carry the master and 2 sacks from the city to the villa. Okay. So again, confirming different ways of stating what we're seeing. Very good. Let us move on. So Luke's already given us the next sentence. Julius in lectica est inter ursum et davum. So Julius is in the litter between Ursus and Davus. Okay. Now, another clue on the left-hand side before we move on. Ante is the opposite of post. Okay. Ante, opposite of post. I don't know what either of those mean yet. Hopefully we'll find out. Now, that almost sounds like, I want to say before and after. I've seen some other English context which means something similar to that. Like an ante-room before and post meaning after. Let's see if that deduction is right as we read on. So, back to Luke.
Ursus est ante Iulium, Davus post Deust.
Maybe left and right?
Surset Leander non ante lecticam, sed post lectica ambulant. Venit ne Julius a villa.
I answer the question.
No, na villa venit.
Okay. Let's pause there. So Julius is on the litter between Ursus and Davus, and that is true. And look, by the way, they're being carried. So again, I'm looking back at the image. So for those who are referencing, if you've got the book in front of you, or if you recall the image, Ursus is in front of the litter that's carrying Julius, and Davus is at the rear. So as I may have deduced, ante and post is like front or back, or first or front or rear, something along those lines. So Ursus est ante Iuliam. So Ursus is before Julius in, I guess, the queue of this little walking group. And Davus post ium est. So Davus is behind him, where ium referencing to Julius. So Ursus est ante Iuliam, Davus post ium est. Okay. Cyrus et Leander non ante lecticam, sed post lecticam ambulant. So Cyrus and Leander are not in front of the litter, but walking behind the litter. Okay, cool. We're making progress. More clues on the left-hand side margin before we go on. We have the elongated A here, A, is equal to ab in a context that we're about to see. That's fascinating. Okay. Now, for those that do Duolingo, for example, will see this come up as well in certain contexts. So where we see an elongated A by itself, it's really actually saying ab, which is meaning to be from or by. So we have ab ante, a, e, o, I'm just trying to remember the Latin pronunciation of letters. What's U for those in chat? How do you say U in Latin? R, B, K, D, R, E, O. I know most of them, not all. So he's saying here that ab comes in front of A, E, I, O, U, H. There's elongated A / ab ante ceteris literas. So elongated A or AB comes before other letters. So it's trying to show us a relationship here. So this clue. So again, if you've woken up and you've rejoined our lesson here, we're looking at this clue on the left-hand side, and it's trying to show us a relationship. So where we see an elongated A by itself in the upcoming sentences, it's really meaning ab, meaning from or of. And here we go. So Sempronius Agricola has suggested other vowels or H. So ab is in front of A, E, I, O, U, and H. Okay. And then the elongated A, ab, comes before other letters. Right. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what it's trying to tell us here, referencing these other letters. Unless it's just an example. Is that what it's trying to do? So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll get a better clue from actually reading the words here. So let's see where Luke's up to. Let's catch up. So I think he's had the next line. Yeah, okay. So we had Cirrus et Leander non ante lecticam sed post lecticam ambulant. Then we have Venitne, which is kind of like a question. Venitne Julius a villa. A villa. Villa. Gnaeus Lentulus has said consonants. It means other letters. Okay. Right, so when we say other letters, we're really meaning the consonants. Again, I still don't see the reference to ab, meaning from. That's all right. Maybe we'll deduce it as we continue to read on. So we have a question here posed to us now, line 33. Venitne Julius a villa. So is Julius from or coming from the villa? Non a villa venit. He's not coming from the villa. Right, because we were told at the beginning of this page he was coming from the city. He's going to the villa. Right now, they ask a question, is he coming from the villa? It's no, he's not coming from the villa. And then we have the next line.
Unde venit Julius?
Unde.
Ab oppido venit. Quoit Julius? Ad villait. Posteunt tusculus anteust villa.
Too slow. Let's go back a bit. There we go. So we then have unde venit Julius. So another question being posed. Where is Julius coming from? And then we're going to say ab oppido venit. He's coming from the city. There's the ablative. There we go. So we see that unde is the opposite of quo in this case here. Okay. So quo it Julius. And then we answer with ad villam it. So unde venit Julius. Where is Julius coming from? And we answer with ab oppido venit. Is coming from the city. Now we're saying that quo is the opposite of unde. So if we're saying that unde means where, I'm not quite sure what the opposite of where is. Who? Let's have a look at the answer to derive the meaning here. Because again, we look at our sheet for quo. Let's see if I've made a note here. I don't think so. Quis, quae, quid. Yep. Right. So the answer we're saying is ad villam it. He goes to the villa. Okay. And then we finish with post ium tusculum est. So behind him is Tusculum. Ante ium est villa. In front of him is the villa. So we know he's leaving Tusculum, heading towards the villa. So we're just confirming that. Yeah, okay, I see. So Nias Lentos has confirmed for us, that unde means whence, really, in the English, which we're talking about is, so we've got from here and from where. So, which is which? So unde, from where is Julius coming from? Where is Julius, coming from? And we're saying he's coming from the city, ab opido venit. And then we have this quo it Julius. So quo it Julius. And we're saying, so from, it's hard to deduce that from here was a typo. From where, whence, okay. For those that know, I'm not talking to myself, I'm reading the chat, particularly if you're watching this on YouTube in the future. There's people giving some clues in the chat live on Twitch here, helping us along the road. So, quo here, to which place, to where? Quo means whither. Wow, some really old English terms coming out here. Quo, to which place, to where? So quo is saying, to which place is Julius going? To which place is Julius going? So we're talking about the destination, and we're talking about the origin in the first one. So unde venet Julius, where is Julius coming from? Ab opido venit. He's coming from the city. Quo it Julius, where is Julius going? Ad villam it, he's going to the villa. So then we say that the city is behind him and the villa is in front of him. So we're being really, really specific about his location in the world. We are setting and painting a picture. So Sempronius Agricola has come into the chat and has said, ab obido, ab urbe, a domi, a California. So these are all words from Duolingo for those who are familiar. Ab is from. For words that start with a vowel or H and the English A is from for all other words starting with consonants. Right. Okay. So I'm starting to understand the context now. So depending on whether it's ab or an elongated A will determine, it's determined by the word and what it starts with. Right. So for example, we have a California or a Germania. Yep. Okay. I understand the context now. Okay. So ab or a or a is really determined by the word that we're using in the location or the place. Cool. All right. Now let's flip the page over to page 43. We're doing pretty well. We've got about 2.5 pages left in our session. Here we go.
Anteust villa. Julius solus non est. Nanquatur serviap Deum sunt. Medus non est apud Dominu. Nais dominiratum tinet. All
right, let's pause there. We've got one or two new words in lines 39, 38, I think. So we have clues on the right-hand side. top of the page 43. So we have apud ium sunt, which is equal to cum eo sunt. With him. So apud ium sunt is equal to, or the equivalent to, saying cum eo sunt. I don't think that gives me any clues because I'm not confident with what eo is, which if from my notes, if I would have written that down, let's have a look. It appears not. We have encountered eo before. Certainly. Let's have a look at the sentence and see if we can work out and deduce the meaning. So we have Julius solus non est. So Julius is not alone. We have nam quattor servi apud ium sunt. With him. Okay. So there are 4 slaves with him. I'm not quite sure what this nam is. This nam appears new to me. But the context I'm getting from the sentence is Julius is not alone. There are 4 slaves with him. Where apud ium sunt is the equivalent of cum eo sunt. Makes me think, so why didn't they just say cum eo sunt then? We'll be able to deduce that going forward. And I'm going to make another note here to have a look at nam as a note. And we'll have a look at apud ium sunt in context in our further studies. So let's have a look at the next line. Medus non est apud dominum. Nam is dominum irratum timet. Timet, that's a new word, and there's no clues yet as to potentially what that could be. Now, I noticed that Medus is not in reference to the original image here, but we do know that Julius was angry at Medus because I believe that Medus had stolen some money from Julius previously. So Medus is not with the master. And then we have this nam again. And is dominum irratum temet. Something along the lines of, so Medus is not with the master because the master is angry. Is very angry. Timet, is that very? Is very angry at him. Is potentially what I want to say here. Let's have a look what Luke says in the next line.
Medus est malus servus qui nummos domini in saculo suabit.
Okay, sure.
Dominus servos malos baculo verbera.
True, he did do that.
Itaque servi mali dominet baculum eius timent.
Let's pause there. So, clue on the right-hand side. So, malus, malus, mala, or malum is the opposite of bonus. So, bonus was essentially meaning good. So, malus is bad. And that sounds like malice in English, doesn't it? So, when we see malus or mala, malum, it's really meaning, I guess, bad, opposite of good, which is bonus. So we're talking about how Medus is not with the master because the master is really angry or very angry at him. I'm not sure if I say very or really. Probably very. I'm going to say that Timet is very right now. Maybe. We'll see. Medus est malus servus qui numos domini in saculo suo habet. So, Medus is a bad slave because numos dominis, because the master's coins are in his own sack. So, in Medus' sack, we're referring to here. So, because Medus has the master's coins, quite a few, in fact. I think Julius originally had 100 centum coins, 100 coins in his saculos, and the Medus has taken about 90 of them, apparently. And then we have dominus servos malos baculo verberat. So the master beats or berates bad slaves. So baculo, I think, is like the hitting stick or the implement. Yes, numis means coins. That's correct. Dominos servos malos baculo verberat. I want to say that the master hits bad slaves, berates bad slaves with the baculum. And then we have itaque servi mali dominum et baculum ius timent. Timent. Itaque. So ita and so something. So something, bad slaves, something to do with the master, and the baculum. Very something. Let's have a look. So we have itaque. So we know. So the que here means and when it's added to the end of something. Itaque servi mali dominum et baculum ius timent. So the bad, so we're talking about the bad slaves of the master, and the baculum. Interesting. This line has me stumped. So I'm going to make a note. So about line 41 in my notes. Maybe, is there more context as we read on? Potentially. So that previous line, Dominos servos malos baculo verberat, even that I'm not 100% comfortable with that. I'd expect to see something like a cum, because as far as I recall, the baculum was like a hitting implement or a stick or something along those lines. Some sort of implement. We're saying here that the master, we had berat, which means to berate. So the master berates. And see, we have we have baculo, which is an ablative. So the master berates bad slaves, with the baculum. Okay, so that's making more sense. That's good. And then we have itaque. Master beats bad slaves with the baculum. Timent, and we have the plural of timet from before. These very, because I think I was originally saying it was very something. Yeah, I don't know. We'll leave that. That'll be something for me to have to follow up, unless somebody jumps in chat with some suggestions. So I'm going to quickly write this down. Itaque servi, and that's all right. This happens, but when you go over the chapters again a second time, sometimes the meaning comes to you. And I'm doing this live on air too, and I have things perhaps distracting me. May not have a clear head. Some of you at home or watching this on YouTube in the future will be like, it's so obvious. Decimus Aurelius, it's this. And you will inevitably type it into the comments or chat, perhaps, in the future. Let's move on. Let's not delay any further. Then we have the next line.
Davus autem bonus servus est, nequis me damat. Davus amicus medi non est, nan servus bonus et servus malus non amici,
Okay.
sed inimici sunt.
Let's pause them. So we have autem, which is equal to sed something davus. Autem is equal to sed davus. Autem. But davus. And then we have in amicus, in imicus, which is the opposite of amicus. So amicus is kind of like friend, if I'm not mistaken. So therefore the opposite is like enemy, maybe. So Davus autem bonus servus est. So Davus is but a good slave. Is I think the context there. Davus is but a good slave. Neque is medum amat. So we're saying that neque, and a reminder of that was we come across that relatively regularly. Neque means and, not, but, not, nor, or neither. But not amat. I think that was to, is that like, I want to say it's like love or something. Davus is but a good slave, and he does not love Medus. Perhaps because Medus is bad. And he does not love Medus. We see the accusative of Medus there. Davus amicus medi non est, nam servus bonus et servus malus non amici, sed inimici sunt. So, amicus, friend or friendly, something Davus. Davus is not friendly to Medus. And then we have nam again. Nam servus bonus et servus malus non amici. So, I'm not quite sure of this nam, but something along the lines of something that's a good slave and not friends with bad slaves. Something along those lines, but are not friends, but are not friendly. Non amici, but are not something. So amicus essentially means like friend, right? Medus est inimicus Davi. So Medus is not friendly with Davus. Ursus autem amicus Davi est. So Ursus is but friendly to Davus. Interesting. We're defining some relationships between the slaves here.
Medus est inimicus Davi. Ursus aut amicus Davi est. Medus abesta domino suo. Est nin oppido tusculo. Medus tusculi non est. Neque Roma est Medus. Sed in via Latin interromit tusculum. All
right, so let's go through here. So, again, tusculi is an ablative, so which means in oppido. So when we're talking about in oppido, we're talking about tusculi, which means in the city, or in tusculum. Okay, and we have tusculo there. Okay, the clues on the right-hand side, fair enough. Ab oppido and tusculo. Okay, yep. Cool. So, Ursus autem amicus Davies. So, Ursus is but a friend to Davus. So it appears that Medus is not friends with Davus, but Ursus is. Okay. Medus abest a domino suo. So Medus is absent from his own master. So we see that elongated A here, where instead of ab, it is a. We have esne in oppido tusculo. So is he in the city of Tusculum? So medus Tusculi non est. So medus is not in Tusculum. Neque Romae est medus, sed in via Latina inter Romam et Tusculum. So medus is not in Tusculum. Medus is not in Rome, but is on the Latin way between Rome and Tusculum. And again, if we look at our map, yep, okay. Fair enough. And then we have unde venit medus. So where is medus coming from? If I remember that one correctly, check me. Whether you're doing it live or in the future on YouTube. Where is medus coming from?
Unde venit medus?
Thank you.
Tusculo venit. Nequisad villam iuliit.
Mm-hmm.
Quit medus. Romait. Tusculum posteunt.
Post.
Anteunt Roma.
Not post, as I've been saying, but post. So unde venit medus. So where is medus coming from? Tusculo venit. Is coming from Tusculo. Neque is ad villam iuli it. So is not. He is not coming from the villa. He's not going to the villa with Julius. So he's not with Julius right now. Is what it's trying to say. Quo it medus? Where is medus going to? Romamit, to Rome. Okay, good. Tusculum post ium est, ante ium est Roma. So Tusculum is behind him. In front of him is Rome. Okay, cool.
Medus via Latina Tusculo Romambulat. Etiam Cornelius, amicus Iulii, in via Latina est. Inter Rome et Tusculum.
Okay, pause there. Now some clues again on the right-hand side. Let's have a gander at those. Ugh. So we have Roma in A, Tusculum in B, and we have that direction in C and the other direction coming back in D. So A is Romae est, so sure. B is Tusculi est, so in Rome and in Tusculum, okay. And then we have C, which means Roma Tusculum it. So it's coming from Rome to Tusculum. And then we say Romam Tusculo it means to Rome from Tusculum, really, is what that means. Okay. Back, we have medus via Latina Tusculo Romam ambulat. So medus is walking on the Latin way from Tusculum to Rome. Did I get that right? So let's just double check a clue on the right-hand side here. So we say Romam Tusculo it, which means D, coming from Tusculum to Rome. And what did I say? Is medus is walking on the Latin way to Rome from Tusculum. I think I got that right. Okay. Then we have etiam Cornelius amicus Iuli in via Latina est inter Romam et Tusculum. So etiam. We've come across etiam before. So first one in YouTube comments or live here on Twitch with us. Etiam, also even, yet. I think I beat you all, did I? So etiam, where are we here? So also Cornelius, Julius's friend, is on the Latin way in between Rome and Tusculum. There we go. Etiam Cornelius amicus Iuli in via Latina est inter Romam et Tusculum. That's cool. So also Cornelius, Julius's friend, is on the Latin way, on the Latin road, in between Rome and Tusculum. Okay. Unde venit Cornelius? So where is Cornelius coming from? Is non Tusculo, sed Roma venit. So he is not coming from Tusculo, but coming from Rome. All right, so he's coming from Rome. Okay, cool. Quoit, where's he going? Cornelius non Romam sed Tusculumit. Cornelius is not going to Rome, but to Tusculum. Okay. Let's then we say Roma post ium ante ium Tusculum est. So Rome is behind him. In front of him is the township or city of Tusculum. Okay, cool.
Unde venit Cornelius? Is non Tusculo, sed Roma venit. Quoit? Cornelius non Romam, sed Tusculuit. Roma posteum, anteum Tusculumst. Cornelius sine quost.
Okay.
Ecus qui Cornelium vehit pulcher est. Julius et Cornelius ad villa sua seunt.
All right, let's pause there. So we have an image, a clue on the right-hand side. We have Cornelius on what appears to be on top of an equus, a horse. And then we're also introduced to a new word down here, fessus, or fessa, or fessum. Okay. So we have Cornelius in equo est. Cornelius is on a horse. So we see the ablative of horse. Equus qui Corneliam vehit pulcher est. So, pulcher. I think that's beautiful, right? That we learned that in the last chapter. So we're saying here that the horse whom Cornelius, the horse of Cornelius, or who is owned by Cornelius's horse, is wehit. Now that is the word we saw before, which meant what, folks? Essentially, I think we're saying the horse is beautiful, right? Julius et Cornelius ad villas suas iunt. So Julius and Cornelius, as we have ad, so are going to their own villas. Cool. Everyone's off home. Villa ubi Julius habitat prope Tusculum est. So the villa where Julius lives is close to Tusculum. Yes, I think we established that before. Ubi habitat Cornelius? Yeah, good question. Where does Cornelius live? Is Tusculi habitat? So he lives in Tusculum. Okay. So where Cornelius lives in Tusculum, Julius lives outside of Tusculum, just to the south there. Okay. Then we have, we're coming up to line 60 now, which is good. So we're making some progress and noting that word iam, which means now or already. Let's listen back to Luc Ranieri for some pronunciation.
Villa ubi Julius habitat, prope Tusculumst. Ubi habitat Cornelius.
Cornelius.
Tusculi habitat. Iam Julius prope villam suast. Servi qui lecticam portant fessi sunt. Dominus autem fessus non est, naist non ambulat. Julius ab urso et avo portatur. Itque is fessus non est. Fessi sunt syrus et leander.
Let's pause there. So, clues on the right-hand side. So again, we introduced this new word, fessus. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to pick that up yet, but let's see what we can get. Julius ab urso et davo. So Julius ab is from or by ursus et davus. So portatur is equal to ursus et davus Julian portant. Right, so he's being carried. Portatur. Okay, sure. So now Julius is close to his villa. So we're progressing the story by the sounds of things. Servi qui lecticam portant fessi sunt. The slaves whom carry the litter are feci. Okay, sure. Dominus autem, so I don't know what that means yet. I think I've encountered it in Duolingo in the background, and for some reason I can't remember it. Dominus autem fessus non est, nam is non ambulat. The master but is not something. Nam, again this weird nam word, is not walking. Still no clues. Let's read on. Julius ab ursus et davor portator. So Julius, who is being carried by Ursus et Davus. And then we have this itaque again, which I'm not comfortable with what it means yet. So itaque is fessus non est. So Julius is being carried by Ursus and Davus, and he is not something. Okay. Feci sunt Cyrus et Leander. Again, Feci something. No clues to that yet, so we're going to make a note on our sheet here to confirm fessus and practice that word a little bit later on to gather that. And we have another instance of this iterque. Okay. Let's see if we can continue to introduce as we go to page 44.
Nai duos magnos saccos humeris portant. Neque vacui sunt sacci. Sacci quia suriet Leandro portantur magni sunt. Sed saccus quem surus portat non tam magnus est quam saccus, quia Leandro portat.
That really bounced around a bit, didn't it? Let's have a go looking at the clues on the left-hand side. There's a bit going on over there. So we have Sacci qui a Ciro et Leandro portantur. So the sack who is carried by Cyrus and Leandor is equal to the sack is carried by Cyrus and Leandor. I haven't quite got the context there. So remember we said previously before that where's the clue? There it is. Okay. Portator is equal to Ursus et Davus Juliam portant. And I guess we're confirming the same thing here in this clue. So saccus qui a Leandro portatur is equal to saccus quem Leander portat. Okay. So finishing off that previous sentence, we had Feci sunt Cyrus et Leander nam I duos magnos saccus humeris portant. So something, and we still don't know what this Feci is. Something, so Cyrus and Leander carrying two crate sacks on their shoulders. Nam E, not sure. So let's write the E down, the two I's. Okay, good. Neque waki sunt saki. So the sacks are not empty, is what I'm reading there. So they're quite big and heavy, potentially. Sacci qui a Ciro et Leandro portantur magni sunt. Sed saccus quem Cyrus portant non tam magnus est quam saccus qui a Leandro portatur. The sack whom carried by Cyrus and Leandro are great, magni, but the sacks which Cyrus carries is not as great as that of the sack carried by Leandro. So we've come across this before already, but we're just saying it in a slightly different way. Different words saying the same thing. Okay. Confirming what we already know. So any other clues in the margin on the left-hand side yet? We see this is equo vehitur is equal to equus ium vehit. Now I'd like to remind myself of that vehit is. Let's go back a little bit and have a look. Because that is coming up a few times here. Vehunt is equal to portant, ab or ad. So to carry to or from. So when we say equus ium vehit, I want to say the horse carries him to, or the horse carries him from. Okay. When we're talking about horses carrying things. Okay. Cool. So with this next line, itaque, are we up to there yet?
Atur. Itaque syrus non tam fessus est quam Leander. Cornelius non est fessus.
Okay.
Naisa quo vehitur.
Vehitur.
Julius lectica vehitur. Servi ambulant. Domini vehuntur. Medus ambulat. Nais servus est, neque habet.
Right, let's have a look here. So we have this itaque again, and again, I'm not comfortable with what that means. So, and something cirrus is not fessus. Again, not sure what that is. So cirrus is not something with that Leander. So Cornelius non est fessus. Okay, Cornelius non est fessus. Nam is equo vehitur. So Cornelius is not. Ambulat means walking. So we know that Cornelius is on a horse. More tea. Namely, he is being carried by a horse. Carried along, carried by. So Cornelius is not tired. Ooh, this is interesting. Let's go back and revise those sentences where we saw fessus for the first time. So we first said, servi qui lecticam portant fessi sunt. So the slaves that carry the litter are tired. That makes sense. So dominus autem fessus non est. So the master but is not tired. That makes sense because he's being carried. Look at us. We may have gotten a word. Let's continue to test. Nam is non ambulant. So he is not walking. Julius ab urso et davo portator, itaque is fessus non est. So Julius, who's been carried by the slaves Ursus and Davus, is not tired. So Cyrus et Leander are those that are tired are Cyrus and Leander, and then we have this Nam because the two sacks they were carrying. Yep. And then we come back to what we're reading here. So itaque Cyrus non tam fessus. So perhaps something again. Itaque Cyrus is not tired. Is not as tired as Leander. So Cyrus is not as tired. Is that tam meaning as? Yeah, I think that's right. So Cyrus is not as tired as Leander. Because Cyrus has a smaller sack, right? We just said that before here. Yeah, so because Cyrus' sack is smaller than Leander's, he's not as tired. And that makes sense. So Cornelius is not tired. Because he's being carried by his horse. Yeah. All right. Julius lectica vehitur. So Julius is being carried in a litter. Servi ambulant. So the slaves are walking. Domini vehuntur. So the master is being carried. Medus ambulat. So Medus is walking. Nam is servus est neque equam habet. So Medus is walking. He is a slave and does not have a horse. Okay, so we're summarizing everybody's position in the world right now. Okay.
Julius prope villan sua est. Medus autem, qui domini ratum timet, procula villa Julia est. Dominus a servo malo timetur.
There's that Timet again. Did I write that down as one of the words I was not comfortable with identifying it? Yes, it was. So we have... Oh, there's a clue on the left-hand side here. It's just a little bit out of your scene, but hopefully you guys will pick it up as we scroll down. So we have per portam, which means to go through. Per to means go through the gate. Okay, so when we see per, we're talking about going through, I think. Sure. All right. So let's have a look at the first line. So we have Julius prope villam suam est. So Julius is close to his villa. Yep, we talked about that. Medus autem qui dominum irratum timet. So medus autem. I'm also going to write that down as well. I'm not quite 100% sure on its usage. It kept saying but I want to know how that differs from the word said. So, autem. Hang on. Doesn't that we talk about ante? No, that's ante. I'm thinking about. Medus autem qui dominum irratum timet procul a vila Juli abest. Okay, so Medus is something who made... Is it made? Timet made the master very angry. Interesting. Isn't it interesting as we read along, we potentially work out what the meaning of some of the words. We deduce the meaning. Who made the master angry? Procul, which we know is the opposite of prope, is far away from Julius's villa, is absent. Yeah. Abest, to be away from. So it sounds like, is he running away? Did he? So he essentially, it sounds like he left the villa and ran. Is that what's happening? I wonder if that's what's happening. Fascinating. Okay, let's move on. Dominus a servo malo timetur. The master is away from the very bad slave. So I keep wanting to say it's very. Master is away from the something bad slave. Medus prope Romam est. So Medus is close to Rome. Iam muri Romani ab eo videntur et porta capena. Now Rome's walls by him seen, and something about the gate of Carpena. Vident, so we have vident and videntur, something about seeing. Does he see? So now Rome's walls are from his something. Yeah, I'm not sure. Meets his eyes, carries his eyes. The use of the you are. But then we confirm in brackets here, interestingly, we say, is quia via Latina venit per portam capenam Romam intra. Let's listen to Luke say that.
Medus prope Roma est.
Okay.
Iam muri Romania beo videntur, et porta capena. Is, qui via Latina venit, per portam capenam Roma intrat.
Romam intrat. So we have, I wasn't completely happy about the usage of the word videntur. We know that videt is to meaning to see. Now he sees, because he's approaching Rome. So now he sees Rome's walls ab from. Now he sees Rome's walls from. No, it says and. Now, maybe he sees Rome's walls and the gate of Carpena. So he, which is traveling on the Latin way, coming from on the Latin way through the gate of Carpena, intrat Romam. Intrat maybe enters, is entering Rome via the Carpena gate. I think intrat, I want to say, is like enter. Then we have cur Romam it medus. Who is Medus going to in Rome? Romam it quia Lydia Romae habitat, nam Lydia amica ius est. Okay, so let's listen to Luke again.
Cur Romait medus? Romait, quia Lydia Roma habitat, nam Lydia amica eius est, medus Lydiamat, et abeamatur. Medus Romam vocatur ab amica sua, quae feminas pulcret proba, et quis fessus non est, it laetus cantat.
Right, so Romam it, so he's going to Rome because Lydia lives in Rome, so a lady friend potentially. So again we have nam Lydia amica ios est. So Lydia is his friend. Medus Lydiam amat et ab ia amatur. Amatur. Again, this use of this you are. So if we, there's a clue on the left-hand side. Medus ab ia amatur is equal to ia medum amat. She loves Medus. Is that what that means? So if we have Medus Romam, Medus Lydiam amat et ab ea amatur. So Medus loves Lydia and she loves him, or she loves Medus. I'd be interested to see what that really sort of translates that through to in English, but that's the gist of what I'm picking up here. Medus Romam vocatur ab amica sua quae femina est pulchra et proba. So Medus sees Rome from his friend, whom is a beautiful and good woman. Okay.
Non via long.
And then we have itaque. Again, that itaque, I still don't know what it is. Itaque is fessus non est et laetus cantat. So something, he is not tired and sings happily. Oh, okay. And he's going to sing. So is this what he's singing here? Non via longa est Romam, ubi amica habitat mea pulchra.
Longest Rome, ubi amica habitat mea pulchra.
Yes, he is singing that. Let's go back and listen to that again. That was fun.
Aetus cantat. Non via longest Rome, ubi amica habitat mea pulchra.
Perfect. I'm not going to be able to replicate that. Non via longa est Romam ubi amica habitat mea pulchra. So the road is not long to Rome. Where does my beautiful friend live? I think that's what that says. Very good. Clue on the left-hand side in the margin. Id a Lydia non auditor is equal to Lydia id non audit. So, okay, sure. So we're going to say...
Sed quod medus cantata Lydia non auditur. Iam Julius in villast, et abae milia librisque laetis salutatus.
Okie dokie. So we have sed id quod medus cantat ad Lydia non auditor. So, but id, which is very similar to, is like he, she, it, or that. So, but it, something about Medos sings from, cantat a Lydia non auditor. So Lydia cannot hear his singing. Quad is which that. So, but the singing which Medos is doing, Lydia cannot hear it. Iam Julius in villa est et ab Aemilia librisque laetis salutator. So now Julius is in the villa and ab from or by, he says greetings, happy greetings to the children and Amelia. Or he receives a happy greeting from the children and Amelia. Cornelius Tusculi est. So Cornelius is in Tusculum. He made it to his destination too. Medus autem Romae est ante ostium Lydiae. Okay, so Medus, but is in Rome, in front of Lydia's door. Okay. Medus ostium pulsat. So Medus knocks on the door. Okay. Lydia imperet. Intra. So Lydia commands, come in. Intra. Oh, sorry. Come in. It should be a feminine voice. I didn't get that word. Sempronius Agricola in chat says, is the word interquam. As referring to that word that I keep getting stuck on, which is what is it? Where is it? Interque? Is that what you're saying? Is it like interquam? Between. So let's put that in context. So where was the last time we saw interque? Let's have a look. Interque is fessus non est et laetus cantat. So if we're saying interquam, between that he is not tired, he sings happily. What was the context of that sentence? That's an interesting proposition. I'm going to go see if I'm going to apply that back when I study this over the next week. Yeah, maybe. So Lydia has told him to enter. So medus per ostium. Let's listen to Luke.
Cornelius Tusculist.
Yep.
Medus autem Roma est ante ostium Lydiae.
Lydia, I gotta get that right.
Medus ostium pulsat.
Oh, good knocking.
Lydia imperat. Intra.
Sure.
Medus per ostu intrat et amicam suam salutat.
Medus per ostium intrat et amicam suam salutat. So Medus goes through and enters the door and greets his friend, and he's going to say,
Salve mea Lydia, ecce amicus tus qui solus Roma devenit.
So he says, hello, my Lydia. Look here, your friend who is alone is alone from Rome, and comes to you. Okay, I think that's what I'm reading there. Salve mea Lydia, ecce amicus tuus qui solus Romam ad te venit.
Lydia verbis medi delectatur, eunque salutat.
ludia verbis medi delectator. Let's get that right. Delectator iamque salutat. So again, clue on the right-hand side. Ludia verbis medi delectator is equal to verba medi ludiam delectant. And delectant means we got that last chapter. Let's see if we can pick up the context again. So ludia verbis medi delectator iamque salutat. So Lydia greets the wonderful, delectable medus. I don't know what this verbis is. I'll double check that. It's a note for me to check on. Verbis. And she says,
Oh, amice, salve. Ubest dominus tuus?
So she says, oh, which is similar to our English O. Oh, hello, friend. And then she says, ubi est dominus tuus? Where is your master? And then Medus is going to reply,
Medus. Iulius in villas apud servos suos. Nec visiam meus dominus est.
what does he say? So, Julius in villa est apud servos suos, neque is iam meus dominus est. So, Julius is in the villa with his slaves and is not now my master. Ah, he's running away. Big risk. And he's now not my master. And then we see verba medi a ludia laeta audiuntur.
Verba medi a ludia laeta audiuntur.
Audiuntur. So we're seeing a lot of this this attachment or this suffix of this ur or tur on the end of these words that traditionally we know, these verbs. Verba medi. So medus laughs from something. Yeah, I'm not quite sure of the context. So there's verbis, verba, verbo potentially. So there's an unknown word there. So judging by my list here, there's a series of words that I'm not quite comfortable with. We got what fessus I think means there, and I think that means tired, and that made sense from context. Some of the other words that we weren't sure of that I'm going to be looking up and studying over the next week and looking at the guides was timet and timent. I was thinking it was like something like very, but in the end of that, I wasn't quite sure, and I'd have to check on context. I want to practice like apud as well. Tam and nam, how they work. I think intrat, I think we were happy with that word in the end there, entry. Altum was another new one we saw quite frequently, and again, I'm not 100% comfortable in its usage, so I want to practice that as well. And then finally this verbis and verba, that context there. If I pick that up, I'll be able to get the context a little bit more. So there's a couple of things for me to practice. And there's that, of course, that itaque, and I think Sempronius Agricola was trying to support me with some ideas that might be like something like itaquam potentially. So I've got to double check those. But the study guides that are there on offer will help. So I've just got to study the vocabulary, go back and read the chapter again, and make sure I'm making sense of the words. And what I guess we need to continue to do is really. The book has these questions and these little tests in the back of each chapter, again, all in Latin, and really you should practice those to continue to get used to thinking about word order and your vocabulary and using those and getting the correct grammar as well. So I need to really be doing some more of that. Perhaps maybe we should do a session where we go through some of those questions live and seek to answer them maybe. Maybe we should do that. I'll look at that perhaps maybe for next week. We'll see if we don't continue on to chapter 7 straight away. But that was a much longer session this evening, probably because we were really trying to grasp some new words in there and get the sense right. But we'll take our time. This is not a rush procedure, and particularly we had some help on pronunciation from Gnaeus Cornelius Lentulus in chat. So that was great to have him on board there for a little while, which is really good. Thankfully, I had the tea on board to keep these poor English vocal cords lubricated while we tried to get the Latin pronunciation right. No, that was fantastic. Hopefully, those who are watching now got something from that as well. And please, very much welcome your comments if you're watching this on YouTube in the future. Tell me everything I did wrong. Show me some of your Latin resources, whether you finished the book by Orberg or others. There are others out there as well. Yes, share your Latin knowledge and Latin skills. And of course, be sure to check out novaroma.org and join our Discord server and come in and practice some of your Latin. It'd be great to have you on board. Well, that is it for this week. It's been a busy study session. Hope to do some more. I've got some study to do, apparently. There's quite a few words there that I didn't get. But hopefully I'm getting at least a little bit better. Until next week, Walete.